Very good, guys. Let's see. This area where we are right now is what used to be the port of Buenos Aires city. The original port was located in this area, and this is the area that attracted so many people into the neighborhood, precisely the job opportunities that the port had to offer. The river that we have there to the right is the Riachuelo River. That is the southern border of Buenos Aires. If we cross the river on the other side, we won't be in the city of Buenos Aires anymore. We will be instead in the city of Avellaneda. It became one of the most expensive places to live in the city.
If you wanted to go to Montevideo, how long would that take on the ferry?
2.5 hours approximately.
And you could come back on the same day if you wanted to.
Yes, that can be done on a day. It's a little bit more of a rush than going to Colonia, but it can still be done in a day. The thing with Colonia is that it's closer and the town is smaller, right? But it can be done in a day. Montevideo.
Do they require a visa?
You just need to take your passport, of course, because even though it's just on the other side of the river, it's a different country. I know that it's silly what I'm saying, but it's something that some people don't. Yeah.
Do Argentinians need a visa to go to Brazil?
No.
See, we do.
You do, yes, because the Brazilians got upset with you a few years ago when you were so strict.
Yeah.
And that is when Brazil, I think that Lula was the president at the time, said, okay, you're not going to let us in. Well, we're going to put it hard for you. At least you will have to be running errands here and there. And we did something similar a few years ago with Australian, Canadians, and Americans, that we didn't require a visa, but we required an entrance fee. So we charged to each one of these countries as much as they charged us to get the visa, and had the same conditions. Like, for example, whenever we get a tourist visa to get into the States, we pay, I don't know, $120, I think it is, and it is valid for 10 years, right? So we can go into the States as many times as we want within those 10 years, and we don't have to pay each time we go in. So it was exactly the same with this entrance fee. But then it was different for Canadians and Australians. They had to pay the entrance fee each time we came here. And there were similar conditions too. But now when we changed the administration, this new president is trying to open up Argentina a little bit more to the world, and that's when they say, okay, no more of this entrance fee, and apparently they are working. It all started when Obama was the president, so I don't know what's going to happen now that Trump is in power, but we were moving towards the direction of not needing a visa to get into the States. Now that Trump is in power, I find it hard, but maybe they will be a little bit more flexible. I have no idea. Anyway, but
The same.
very good, guys. Let's see. On the next block, this neighborhood where we are now is the neighborhood of Retiro, right? And on the next block to the right, you will be able to find the tower with a clock. That's what we know as the English Tower or the Monumental Tower. That was a gift from England to Argentina when we had 100 years of our independence. Our independence was in the year 1816. 100 years later, in the year 1916, they gave us that tower. So to honor the English people, we called it the English Tower. Now, guys, we're talking about the year 1916. How would we know at the time that years later we will have a war against England for the possession of the Falkland Islands, right? When this happened, all of a sudden we didn't feel like honoring England anymore, and we decided to change the name of the tower, which, by the way, is the only thing we could do about the islands. So we stopped calling it the English Tower, and it became the Monumental Tower. Now, let's see. We were not very successful during the war. We were not very successful changing the name of the tower either, because, you know, old habits die hard, and still most of the people in Buenos Aires keep on calling it the English Tower. Ironically enough, across the street from the tower, if you take a look to the left, you will find there a wall with some black flags. Well, that is a memorial to the 649 Argentinian soldiers that died during the Falklands War. as if we wouldn't have any other place in town to put the memorial, when it is just across the street from the tower that the English gave us. But well, that's one of the many ironies that we have here. Making long story short, what happened during this war was this. England occupied the islands around the year 1830. There was at that time a small military population, Argentinian military population on the island that had to leave after England occupied. 150 years later, we were here governed by this military junta that was losing a lot of support from the people. And the man in charge, a man called Galtieri, pretty much overnight decided to invade the islands, thinking that England was so far away from there that we'll never make it on time to defend them, and without considering that he had Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, on the other end of the line, that had her own political needs, right, and did everything she had to defend the islands. Here what we did was send in kids of only 18 years old that were conscripts, drafted into the military service, not even professional soldiers that had decided to give their life for the country, without any proper training, clothes or weapon, to fight this silly war for a rock in the middle of the ocean that changes no one's life whoever flag is hoisted there. The war was very short, lasted only 10 weeks, and caused the death of 649 Argentinian soldiers and 255 British ones. This was pretty much the end of our dictatorial government, right? Because after the war they lost the little popularity that they had left, and a year later, in the year 1983, they had to call for elections. Since 1983 we live in democracy, and this is the longest democratic period of our history. Keep in mind that Argentina is a country of give or take 200 years of history, and throughout it we've been alternating between the democratic governments that were deposed by a military coup that later had to call for elections, and we had again a democratic government, and so on, right? Instability is the only stable thing here in this country, is the only constant thing. But